And then I'm going to,
Go ahead and start recording your end.
okay, gotcha.
Recording in progress.
There you go. The recording is on. Okay, let me go. Awesome. Looks like it says stream will be starting soon.
Alright, go on and switching over to live stream now. Alright.
Wait a minute. Why is it doing that?
Might
Ah,
be.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I was about to
Okay, we're
say,
good.
we better not be having any issues. We just started.
Okay. All right. Looks like we are live. Welcome, everyone, to the 47th episode of Goddess Spotlight with Liaserenityrose. I am your host, Leah. And of course, I am joined here with my very good buddy, Chris here.
Hello.
And of course, we are joined by a very, very popular Son Amy fan comic artist here, Evay.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right. So if you guys want to ask Evay questions, you can put your questions in the live stream chats. So let's get started, shall we?
Yes.
As I
Uh,
apologize, you're gonna hear my cat. She wanted to join the live stream, I guess. So
We're good.
you're all good. All right. So here's my first question for you, Evay. Like, tell us how you grew passionate, about creating art. What made you decide to become an artist?
oh, um, art has always just kind of been a part of me. I think part of it was the way I was raised, and part of it is genetic. I have quite a few artistic members in my family, so very lucky with that, and they helped flourish that skill. But I've been drawing ever since I was 2. My mom I guess she was drawing. I have no memory of this. She tells me it. She
Mm.
was drawing and she was trying to show me, like, this is what a butterfly looks like. Now you try. And I guess I just did it exact right away. And I haven't stopped drawing since then. Yeah, I've always loved telling stories, even if I wasn't going to pursue art directly at some point in my life. I thought I might be like a film director or an animator or, comic artist, things like that. I've always wanted to tell stories, but I've found that illustration is the way that's most natural for me, I guess. Um, so yeah, and again, sorry about the cat. She has a lot to
You're
say.
perfectly fine.
You're all good.
um so yeah, I would say it's rooted in storytelling, really. I have a lot of ideas in my head, and I want to get them out, and I want to share them with other people, and art seems to be the most effective way to do it for me.
Wow,
Alright.
that's really cool that you have like a huge inspirations that you have other artistic people in your family, you know. It,
Oh
it's
yeah.
the phrase of like it runs in the family.
Yes.
It's
So
taking it
that
to a whole new level.
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the cool thing too is, like, my mom will never admit to this, but she's an excellent painter. So, like, she has that form of art. My younger sister, she paints, she draws, she does makeup.
Ooh.
And so, like, she has that
Mm.
way of doing her creativity. Even my dad was a carpenter, and so, like, that's kind of art and math and all that stuff too, So it's like I've always been surrounded by art in some way, and so it's just cool. I think one of the things that inspires me a lot is that art isn't just one thing.
Mhm.
It's music, it's dance, it's
It
film,
could be
it's
anything.
Yeah.
exactly, and so it helps bolster my creativity when I see art around all around me. So very cool.
Basically getting tips
Wow.
and learning from your parents while doing it in your own way as well.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Nice. All right, Chris, you have a question for Eve here?
Yes, and I'm gonna include, like, add this to my question as well. from Kiki. They asked, hello, and when did you start getting into Sanemi, and what was your first exposure to the ship? And
Oh gosh.
add that to my question was, what was your first Sanemi artwork you ever made?
Ooh.
Wow. Uh, that's gonna be difficult. I'm going back in the recesses of my brain because I'm 34 years old. I've been in a Sonic since I can remember. So I've
Oh,
been
you're
doing
older
this
than you.
a long time. I remember the first time I saw Amy, I was at a Peter Piper Pizza and they had the arcade,
Right.
and there
Mhm.
was some Sonic game. It was just a ticket game. I think it's like you hit at a certain time.
Hmm.
And I saw this pink hedgehog on there and I was like, she's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Kind of obsessed with her just a little bit. Just a little bit. And so I immediately fell in love with her and I was like, I need to know who this is. I need to know everything about her. And then I found out that she is in love with Sonic. And I'm like, okay, well, Team Amy all the way. Here we go. Um, the first time I saw the two of them like together, I'm trying to remember. I think it was probably Sonic Adventure 2 when I played that. Um, and again, I was already kind of Team Amy just visually, but then getting to learn like what her character was like.
Mm-hmm.
And spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Sonic Adventure 2, but like I was so amazed that she was the one who was able to like turn Shadow around and stuff. So I was like, wow, this girl has so much to her. And she, at that time, was a little bit more of the damsel in distress than she is today.
She's
But
evolved since then.
absolutely. And personally, I like her evolution, the direction it's gone, but I understand it's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mhm.
even back then, I thought she's such a good complement to Sonic. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't give up. She doesn't want to drag him down. She likes to follow him, and he's all about, living free and doing his thing. And she's like, I just want to be along for the ride. And I thought that was such a cool little thing about her. So that really helped to fuel my passion for her as well. And then, of course, Sonic X. I mean, I started watching that. I was like, this is a Son Amy dream. Oh my God, it's so romantic. So that, I mean, it just compounded over time and I've never lost passion for them. But the first drawing I ever did of them, I have no idea. I mean, we're talking like, I don't know what year Sonic Adventure 2 came out. Would that have been 2001? I think something like that.
Mm.
So we're
Yep.
talking like 24 years of Son Amy drawing. Yeah, I couldn't say. It was probably just some doodles of them together. One of my earlier ones that I do remember, it was Phantom of the Opera, but with Sonic and
Oh.
Amy.
I
And
think
that
I've
was
seen that
all,
Oh.
artwork before.
I have
Yeah.
posted it before. Yeah. So that was definitely one of the earlier ones, not the first,
Yeah,
but it's
you're
up
right. It
there.
was 2001. It came out in 2001.
Yeah. So again, long history of drawing these two together. So I don't quite have an answer for you there, but it's probably just some doodles.
Still amazing artwork
Mm.
either way.
Oh, thank you.
Honestly, when looking back at the evolution for Amy, like me showing how much she's grown, especially when like traveling with Sonic, fighting alongside him. Sonic and Frontiers was definitely also a good example of her growth and whatnot. Like getting inspired by him to do something to like go out there to show love for everyone in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I've written this before, and I'm a lot more articulate when I write than when I speak.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the character direction they've taken with her is just an expansion of what she already
Mhm.
was. It feels like a natural growth. I don't personally feel like they've taken away from who she is. I feel like she loves Sonic just as much and
Mhm.
she is the personification of love. That's her whole character thing, but there's more love than just romantic love. There's
Yeah.
self-love, which she's grown to,
Mhm.
she's worked really hard to become a strong person and become someone who's good at planning and someone
Hmm.
who you can rely on. And there's also platonic love, there's friendship love. She's always there for her friends, she's always looking out for other people. She's like the first person who's gonna help out and reach out to somebody who's new, you know. So it's just her original design, I feel, has been amplified, not necessarily taken away from. That's my own personal opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, like I feel like you said, they are expanding, on her character, of who she is because like obviously they're trying to make her more independent and because when you think about it, people kind of identify Amy as like, oh, her identity is just linked to Sonic and she's not like her own character. But what they're doing now, what Sega's doing now, is that no, she is her own character. And that's why they're trying to make her more independent and not be like having Sonic be the depending factor of her
Mhm.
character, because obviously we have seen it in the IDW where sometimes she kind of swoons over him, and then she's like, nope, nope, that's gonna make him uncomfortable. So she is learning to respect his boundaries now you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's another way to show that you love someone. You're listening to their wants and needs and you're respectful of their boundaries. So I think it's great.
Hmm. Because when you look back at it, when she's always chasing him and smothering him, it's like, it's not really a good look, because people are going to say, oh, she is not respecting his boundaries,
Right.
and then now we are clearly seeing that progression where she's like, okay, I got to respect his boundaries. And I like how she also says in the IDW comic, she's like, and she's like, no, it's like, I don't want to change you. That's who you are, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, she's actually
That
hinted in
moment.
Frontiers as well when you think about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I also think it's kind of this is my own interpretation of it.
But
I feel like maybe she's overcorrected a little bit. And I think
Hmm.
we see moments that maybe Sonic is a little bit like, why aren't you paying as much attention to me? Like maybe he liked a little bit of the cat and mouse game because he's the fastest thing alive. I mean, he can get away
Hmm.
from her if he wanted to.
it seems like
Hmm.
Um,
she's been able to keep up with him more and more. The more time they run, he runs away and she chases him. She's learning to catch up with him. So in a
yeah.
way, it's
Yeah.
a, like in a way, and like in a way, it's like he's trying to help her learn how to run fast, so she could be able to run at the same speed as him.
Hmm.
Yeah. There's just such cuties. I love them.
Right.
Yeah, like I believe in the Japanese side of things. Like I know there was like this translation thing when they were doing I think a live stream and on the cake, I think on Sonic's cake it literally said I think it kind of translates to like eternal or something, eternal love or something. And someone interpreted that as like, oh my gosh, he's actually accepting Amy's eternal love for him. Which is interesting because like people always compare the English and the Japanese,
Hmm.
because Japanese, like a lot of people love the Japanese interpretation a lot more because it's a lot more meaningful,
Hmm.
So and I think even the dialogue for Frontiers is vastly different.
It is.
So I think that's why people really love the Japanese like interpretation of Sonic and Amy in specific. So which I don't blame them, but I know there was this specific, what was it? I think it was like a specific Tails tube, and then Sonic just kept saying Amy's name, and then Amy caught on pretty fast, like, wait a minute, are you saying my name? And then and then Tails was like, Sonic, you need to be more subtle than that.
I remember the one you're talking about. Yes, that was super cute.
I was just like Tails was like, Sonic, you're playing a dangerous game here. You're sending her mixed signals by doing that.
Yes.
Dude, chill on that before you end up saying something you'll regret.
Yeah, exactly. And I love how you literally call Sonic and Amy's dynamic like a cat and mouse,
Yes.
So it's like, yeah, like it really gives me like cat and mouse things. So it's like, yeah, I totally understand that.
It's awesome. Fits.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, let me check.
There was one from Kevin at the top. If you haven't read that one.
Oh, yes, yes. Uh, all right. So here's a question from Kevin. My question is, what is your process for making your artwork from start to finish? I am so curious about this, actually.
Same. With the amount of
Oh,
artwork you made, especially the comics, it does make me wonder how the process goes.
well, it's definitely a longer process when it comes to comics. So with just a standard illustration, it's a lot more cut and dry. I might have a quick little thumbnail of what I want to do. Sometimes I just jump right into the drawing, but one of the things I'm still trying to work on is better compositions.
Mm.
So one of the things that helps me is just to do like a really rough, almost like stick figure layout and general pose of what I might want. And that helps me determine, is this an interesting enough composition? Are like all of the leading lines going to where I want them to go? Things like that. Once I've kind of established that, then I'll just move on to a rough sketch, line art, color. It's, pretty standard. But the comics, uh, I have so many ideas in my head. The way that I describe it is like, you ever turn on an old TV and it's just noise? It's just like thousands of pixels. That's kind of like all the thoughts in my head at once. And so whenever I get an idea, even if it's a little one, I'll just like quickly open up my notes app and I'll type just a snippet or whatever. And if it keeps eating at me, or if it's something that I think is particularly interesting and I want to build on, then I will turn it into like a script. So I'll open a Word document and I write out, maybe I'll have the whole comic scene in my head already. Maybe I just have pieces. Eventually, it becomes a full script. Then from there, again, kind of do the thumbnail process because just like with a single composition, it's a lot harder to do all the panels, making sure that your eyes are following in a way that makes sense. You're not like looking all over the page and reading bubbles out of order and things like that. So I'll do like some rough squares and rough little sketches and things like that. But then, yeah, we move on to more clean sketches and then lines, color. And I've actually grown to like lettering a lot more than I used to. Before it was just like, oh, let's just get the text on there and, you know, let's get it over with. But I recently did a deeper dive on like lettering techniques and how to convey different sounds or different accents or different feelings just based off of like the bubble that you use or maybe font weights and things like that. And so experimenting with that more has made it more enjoyable for me. So that's actually one of the more fun parts of the process for me now. And it was the one that I looked forward to the least before. So yeah.
Ah,
Wow. That's really cool that you start out with just like, if I get like an idea, I open my notes app and just start writing to see if this will get somewhere. And that's really great at like planning like the idea, especially, when you're doing a comic, because I'm pretty sure that like that took like a lot of notes, right?
Oh gosh. Yeah. And sometimes these things just start with like, oh, I think this would be a very clever one liner. And now I have to come up with a whole comic around just so I can like land that punchline. But,
Hmm.
I got to write it down as soon as I think of it because, like I said, I have a million thoughts, so I'll forget it if I don't.
mm-hmm.
And a lot of times the thoughts come to me like in the middle of the night when I'm trying to sleep. I'm waking up my husband. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I got an idea. I got to write it down." So,
Honestly, it's like with me, like when it came to drawing my OC and his outfits, like I just let my mind flow and the hand literally just absorb the idea and draw the outfit itself. I've
absolutely.
drawn so many different outfits on my character. It's crazy. It's like my own designs, like with a bit of a flame detail to it. Yeah, my latest one has like a flame detail and dragon is on the shoes,
Hmm.
and that's just me
I,
thinking it up.
yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up because that's a part of the process too that I don't even think about, but it does happen. A lot of the times I feel like the characters might dictate how the story or even just a panel might go more than what you originally intended.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I like with my comics, even though I'll have things scripted out and drawn, there may be moments while I'm drawing that the character is kind of telling me like, I don't like the way that I'm saying that. I would say something else. Or, you were originally intending me here to be a little bit more bold and cocky, but maybe I would be a little bit more anxious in this moment. It's like you said, it's like it's controlling your hand as you do it. I'm not really thinking about it. It just kind of happens.
Exactly.
Mm, nice. Ooh, I see more questions in the chat now, I believe. Wait, where is that question? Oh yeah, wait, Cookie Star here. I do have a question for Miss Evay. What made you construct your AU around the Sonic Boom universe? Like, why did you choose Boom as your go-to?
Actually, yeah, I've been wondering that myself.
That is a good question. My answer is probably not as interesting.
Oh, let me know.
So I never really intended to make like a whole AU. It was just at the time I was very interested in Sonic Boom. I've always loved Sonic. Like I said, he's always been a part of my life. But there was a little bit of time where I got interested in other things. And then Sonic Boom came out and I watched the show and it just like kick-started that excitement again. I loved the writing in it. I love the comedy. It's totally my sense of humor. And originally I didn't like the designs. I had an immediately like initial shock reaction. But then they grew on me and now actually like they're my favorite designs. Probably like at least they're up there. So yeah, at that time I was just drawing a lot of Sonic Boom because I liked it. And then I just started writing stories with Sonic Boom, and those stories kept building and building and building. But at that point, I had already used the Boom designs. So it was like, it wasn't my intention to make like a Sonic Boom AU. And even at this time, I don't like to call it that. I
Mhm.
if you're familiar with my blog, like I have a whole guide to my AU because it's so long and convoluted and all this stuff.
Hmm.
And the way that I summarize it is this AU is just like a compilation of all things Sonic that I love. So it takes things from the games, it takes things from Boom. There's some things from Sonic X, there's some things here and there, and it leaves out other things too, because that's the beauty of an AU. It can be anything you want. It doesn't affect the canon in any way. It was more of a, I'm just not going to limit myself at this point. I'm just going to write and draw whatever makes the most sense to me. But yeah, they just happen to have the Boom designs. So hope that answers your question.
Oh, yeah, like I do enjoy Boom for its comedy, like whenever like I think the most I think whenever they tease on Amy is just always so great because like
Sunny,
oh
spicy.
like
Yes.
like I think they do it so well because like it's kind of like you're giving fans hope, obviously they're not making it canon, for obvious reasons, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just always great with the teasing in that show.
Oh, yeah.
And I think what's also funny is that like Boom Sonic is like I think they kind of got the blueprint from Boom where Sega got the blueprint from it where they're like, oh, he's actually comfortable around Amy, like not like
Mm-hmm.
cringing or like uncomfortable around her, but like they really showed that they have a really great platonic friendship. Um
Absolutely.
and I think that the way that they portray it is just good. Like obviously with Sonic, it's hard for him to be like open about his feelings. And whenever I think there was this one episode where I think Cubot has like that thing on his head, and then like everyone's going up, and then it's like, oh no. Like he was like, let's talk about our feelings. No, let's not have Amy do that. Like he starts
Yes.
freaking out at that, and I laugh so hard. I'm just like, okay, we get it, Sonic. You don't do emotions and talking about your feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel
Um,
like that show, just all the writers had so much fun finally getting to do things that maybe Sega didn't allow them to do before because it
mhm.
wasn't technically a canon project. I think they were allowed to get away with a little more of like, we're going to tease about Son and Amy because basically in the show they seemed like they were dating, but not
Yeah.
allowed to say they were dating kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was just such a treat. It was so fun as a Son and Amy fan to watch.
Yeah, like I think I always love the numerous times that it's like Tails, it looks like Tails was like in the know too.
Oh,
At
yes.
instances where it's like, oh yeah, I know they're up to something. He's like he has his suspicions and it's like adorable. I think my other favorite one is like robots in the sky, and then like Amy calls them on the communicator, and then she says, "Don't forget we have that," and then he just like cuts her off. Like, and then Tails just like if you watch that scene very closely, you can see Tails is like grinning and smirking, like, hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
And
even his
again,
friends
that,
can see it.
sorry, what was that?
I was saying even his friends, even Eggman himself can see it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
in the show, Eggman even says, "So what's the deal with you and Amy?" You know? So
Right.
I
What?
that moment where he's got the communicator is another example of like these two can get along and they don't have to be like around each other at all times because they
Hmm.
were supposed to he and Amy were supposed to do something that night and he's like,
Right.
"Hey, I'm hanging with the bros, I'm doing something else." And she's like, "Okay, that's fine. Just don't forget we have that." And then cuts off. So,
Like it's just really like I kind of feel like Boom's son Amy is like a little bit more mature, than the modern son Amy back in the day
right.
until they, and then yeah, obviously they're taking inspiration from Boom because Sega realized, oh, the fans actually like this Amy where she can be platonic with him while
Mm-hmm.
also teasing Son Amy. And obviously in their media now, they tease it.
Yes.
So it's like it's like really great, I think that's why, they were like, oh, Boom actually did well with like making them platonic friends. Like obviously, like it doesn't take away that she still loves him, but she's like toning it down and learning to respect those boundaries now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with with what they did in Boom, they did a perfect blueprint of like, yeah, let's have her still have a thing for him, but it's more like she wants to keep it down.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it on the down low,
And if
if
you
anything.
and if you look at some of the other episodes, like when they had that, I forgot what that and that character was, like where there was somebody who was trying to be the fastest thing alive, better than Sonic. He was starting to get a little jealous of the guy, for Amy falling for him. You could
That's
see,
right.
Hmm.
yeah, you could see Sonic getting jealous, like actually jealous, not because of somebody taking the spotlight, but of the person that he likes, fawning over someone else.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like, no, no. There's like her attention should only be on me.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like that's what he's hinting at. And um I think I believe it was like that, what was it? That date one you did for Boomson Amy.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I remember you were on a hiatus a bit and then you like culminated in them finally getting together. And I think you did a pretty good job on that.
Thank you.
Like it's kind of like how I would imagine if, if Boom went to that, if they actually canonized it, where like Sonic actually shows, he got jealous and then obviously Boom Eggman was ruining and like their moments together. And I think that was like perfectly done because yeah, like Boom Eggman wants to be petty.
Yes, yes.
Like but then I kind of like how you literally made it so in character where she'd be like, "You're sending me mixed signals." You know, like you kind of talk about, in the comic that she's like, "Oh my gosh, like when we're getting close, I feel like you actually are like saying it through your actions that you love me, but I don't know. I can't it like and it's true. It's hard to read Sonic
Hmm.
of what he's feeling because, Sonic does it's hard for him to convey emotions and feelings, get into like really in-depth things. And I think you did a pretty great job on that. Portraying that like he's like, I know it's like I was actually trying to win you over, tonight, not like make you feel like miserable and overthinking if there is a chance for us. And and that's kind of how like you magically like portrayed how I would like visually in my head. So I
Oh,
so I thank you for that, Evay.
no, thank you. That's a huge compliment. I really appreciate that. My way of going about it is obviously I'm just a fan and I am delulu about Son Amy and I have ways things I want to go, but I love this franchise and I love the characters. And so even if it's a story and I want it to go a certain way, I try to always be mindful of the original, like the way that the characters would think and the way that they would talk. I try to keep them in character as much as possible and always try to keep their main the core of who they are always at the forefront of my mind. And so it means a lot to me that you say that you could see it going that way, because I think the reason why maybe some people, because I've even had people who are not San Amy fans actually enjoy that comic. And I think it's because I try to stay true to who the characters are. It doesn't feel like I'm I'm just shoving that all away just so I can get what I want. At least that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping to achieve.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, because keeping them in character is more authentic, and you get your audience to like, oh, if this was an actual thing, if Sega actually canonized it, I can actually visually see how this would go and this is how they would get together. Um, so like you do such a great job with keeping them in character.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So here's my next question for you, Eve. Like, what do you love about Sonic and Amy's dynamic? Like, what makes it stand out to you? Other than mentioning that it's kind of like a cat and mouse dynamic, like what else makes it stand out for you?
My goodness. That's like asking me the meaning of the universe. Like these people are my pride and joy. So
Oh wow.
uh
Two of them.
yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay. Um I think part of what it boils down to is, and I think I've said this before, I interpret their relationship as joyful. Like they both have so much appreciation for the world and their friends, and they both see the good side in everything, even when times are tough. And they are constantly like egging each other on and hyping each other up. And it's just such a like uplifting, joyful chemistry between the two of them that it's just kind of addicting, It's really sweet and just makes me smile whenever I see the two of them interacting together. Even, when they're just talking to each other two friends hanging out. Like it's just it puts such a smile on my face. So that's one of the reasons I'm drawn to it. And also I would say, again, I just think they're really suited for each other. I think they match each other's crazy, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. Because
Yeah.
Sonic is he's a thrill seeker. He likes to run and go fighting and stuff. He has fun doing that kind of thing. And Amy's not the kind to say, "Oh no, Sonic, that's too dangerous. Stay back." I mean, she had a little bit of that in Boom, but for the
Mhm.
most part, she's right along with him. She will jump into action sometimes without even thinking about the repercussions for herself. Like they're on that same level, and I really
Mhm.
appreciate that. I mean, there is a thing about opposites attract, and I'm not,
Mhm.
I'm all for that too in other ships as well. But I just think the two meet each other where the other person is at, and that's just such a refreshing, nice thing to see, and that's why I'm drawn to them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like when you think about it, they're kind of like you could say like one keeps the other grounded where it's like Sonic, you need to like don't do something dumb. Like she kind of keeps him grounded. But at the same time, she's not restricting him,
Mm-hmm.
because she's like, it's like, okay, I'm just trying to tell him to just be careful, but also don't like restrict him because that's the last thing. Like she's well aware that's the last thing that Sonic would ever want is to be restricted,
Mm-hmm.
So I think as you said, they are like opposites attract. Like I kind of feel like when I kind of feel like Amy and Sonic are like Marinette and Adrian from Miraculous because like Marinette is kind of gushy around Adrian before they get together. Like she's always like swooning over him and I'm just like, okay, this is like the human version of Amy.
I could see that.
And obviously, like Sonic is liked by a lot of people, like Adrian. And obviously, when he's Cat Noir, like his Cat Noir side, he likes to joke around.
Yeah,
And when he's a superhero, he kind of just jumps into action without thinking. I'm like, wow. It's like this is like the human personifications of these two.
absolutely.
Yeah, so I think, like Sonic and Amy just have like this interesting connection. Like it's not like well, how do I put it? Like it's kind of not your typical ship, you know?
Yes,
When
I agree.
like, because you could say Sonic and Amy are also kind of like the Ross and Rachel of Friends. You know how like people were like really into the Ross and Rachel ship in Friends, and because they are giving us more bits and pieces here and there now, they're like just really hyping us up for this ship.
I do love the amount of crumbs that they give us. I don't know that, they'll ever make romance canon in the franchise, and I'm okay with that. I love the little like snippets and stuff that we get. Um, but I love being teased. I love when they tease us like they've been doing lately.
Yeah, it's so great. Like, I think there was like a question in one of the Twitter takeovers, and they're like, "What do you love about Sonic?" And then everyone else just like disrespecting him and just like calling him out on his shortcomings.
Yeah.
And Amy's the only one trying to defend him. And then like when she does, it's like Sonic's like, "Wow, Amy." She's like, um, so like Sonic's just so chill. Like I think Sonic knows his shortcomings. Like he's like you could say he's humble about it now. Where he's just humble about it. He's like, yeah, that's fair. It's like, yeah, you can tell me about my shortcomings. So yeah. Um, all right, Chris, do you have another question for eBay?
Yeah, this one is one I've been wondering when I first saw her a few years back. What was the inspiration for the fan child for Sonic and Amy, Aurora, as well as the relationship she has with Shadow?
Um,
Ooh.
yeah. So, uh, the way that I've shared this on my blog before. When I very first came out with Aurora, she was drastically different. She was nothing like the way that she is now. I have a history of depression is something that I've struggled with my whole life. So, and I'm very open about that on my blog. It's not something I'm ashamed of. It's a part of who I am. And so when I first made Aurora, that her story was so much darker and sad, and she was resentful, and yeah. So I don't even like to acknowledge that part because she's so different,
Yeah,
but I have to bring it up because that was initially how I created her. But
it was her
some
first
years,
original personality and design.
exactly, and it was less about her as Sonic and Amy's child, and she was more a reflection of what I was feeling at that time of my life.
Ah,
So some years passed, and I was like, I need to revisit this, and I want to create her the proper way. I want to make a character that is a better reflection of who would be the product of Sonic and Amy. Their two personalities combined and the way that they might raise a child together. And so that's when I reworked her, and I summarize her as a product of, again, their joy. Their love is just so pure and happy and light to me. And so that's why
mm,
she
that's the
has
nickname
light
she has.
powers. Exactly. Exactly. She's like the manifestation of light and hopefulness and bubbliness. Now she has her own faults as well, and insecurities and things like that. But yeah, she kind of, whenever I'm making a character, I'll have a general sort of idea in my head. Like I said, for Aurora, I was like, what would a child of Sonic and Amy be like? 50% of one, 50% of the other, or more individuality than that. But whenever I'm designing a character, they kind of form themselves as I'm going. It's a little bit of my input, and it's a little bit of like their own autonomy coming into being. So the character that you know today, I'm much happier with. I feel like that's the true Aurora. It's less about me, it's more about her. And, she is the product of not only her genes, but the way that she was raised.
Nice.
The second part of your question, and I understand this ship isn't for everyone. Totally fine with that. Again, this is not canon, so it's fine. But I I wasn't originally looking to give her a romantic partner at any point in her life. But then one day I was just kind of listing out like her traits. Again, I was just trying to get a better grasp of who she is. Who is she telling me that she is? And I was like, oh, you know what? She is kind of sort of the opposite of Shadow. I wonder what their interactions would be like. And again, Shadow is immortal. So he's ageless and he's awesome. He's the ultimate life form. And Aurora has a habit of idolizing people. And I think if she met this guy, she'd think, oh my God, he's the coolest thing in the world. He was designed to be perfect in every way, and he's really attractive, and he's immortal. He's like Edward from Twilight, it's like her, look, because she's like a romantic too. She gets that from Amy. And so to like meet someone like that in real life, she gets all excited and fangirls over him. But I'm also like, she's sweet, and she doesn't really put up with too much crap. And I think that she might be a good compliment to him. I think she could bring out some of the more
Like a different side of him.
lighthearted, yeah,
Mhm.
more lighthearted, more getting to enjoy the planet that Maria always told him about. We see Shadow on Earth or whatever planet you want to call this, but he's always just kind of showing up and doing missions and leaves. We don't really get to see him enjoying the planet for what it is, loving nature for what it is. He just kind of does it because he has to. So I was like, I think that she could pull some things out of him. And likewise, he could help to kind of bring her head out of the clouds, not to like dull her shine or anything, because I write him to quite enjoy that aspect about her. But I just thought the two of them complemented each other well. So that's, again, I wasn't planning to write the two of them together, but it just kind of worked that way. And not everybody loves it. I get quite a bit of hate mail over it. Unfortunately, that's just the internet, but some people gravitated towards it. So I'm
Honestly,
thankful for those who do.
I actually like it because like you get to like with some of the other like fan comics, like we're showing a different side of like Shadow. Like when it comes to those two, it really like balances itself out because you really get to see Shadow be able to actually enjoy himself with somebody who sees him as himself, not as the ultimate life form, but as Shadow.
Yeah. Thank you. That means a lot to me that you kind of see what I was going for. So I appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, like I love the interactions that Aurora has equally with both of her parents. And I think it really shows that she is like she has both sides of her parents. Because like I think that one where Aurora was writing her was I think she was practicing her name in the sand.
Oh
I think I
yeah.
remember that one.
And then like Sonic's like, "Oh, are you practicing writing your name?" And then they have like this cute moment and then it's so funny when it's like, "Do you know mom's name? Babe?" And then he's just laughing. Like it's so adorable because she's so innocent. She's like, "Well, I always hear you daddy calling her babe." So and
Wasn't there one part where it said Faker, if I remember correctly?
What's that?
I think, I'm trying to remember if there was in that same one. I think wasn't there a part where it said Faker, like when he asked, "What do you call Daddy?"
Oh, not in that
Okay,
no,
comic.
okay,
no,
yeah,
not in that one.
okay. I think it was a
Yeah.
different one then. I was trying to remember one of them. It's been a long time.
And it
Yeah, I have quite a few. So
yeah, and I kind of like how like Sonic was teaching her, this is how you spell my name. And she's like, "Oh, that's such a cool name." And then when Sonic told Aurora your mom's name and how to spell her name, it's like Amy, beautiful. Like that part was so cute. I was just like, "Oh, she thinks her mom's name is beautiful too." Like it's really cute because obviously Amy's name means beloved.
right.
So it's like I think it's really cute that Aurora thinks like both of her parents' names are like amazing.
Yeah.
And and I kind of like how you show, oh, this is her spending time with her dad, and then obviously when like Sonic tells Aurora, "I dare you to call her babe," and she does, and then Amy gets like, "Excuse me, what did you call me?" And then she's like, "Babe," and then she's like, "Oh, that's it." And then like Sonic like pins her down, "Run, Tiny!" Oh, it's so adorable. I just love the way you portray her time, equal amount of time with both of her parents because we can see how she was shaped by both of the parents. Like she can have some like she can be like a joker like her dad, and then she can also be like artistic like her mom or even like very loving and caring. Like she has the best of both worlds from both of her parents.
The
I love the way.
characteristics of both their parents.
So I truly appreciate how you like showcase that, of her spending time with both her parents.
Thank you. That comic means a lot to me too, because that was actually inspired by my niece. At the time I wrote that, she was learning how to read, and so I was watching my sister try to help her like going through like, how do you say this? Okay, what letter is that? And it was so moving and sweet to me. And so I was like, I want to explore what that would be like, because in my comics, Sonic does a little bit more of like the home teaching kind of thing
Yeah.
with her. But he has his own way of doing things. We know that he can be a good guardian because he helped to raise Tails. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, so what would he do to try to teach somebody how to read and how to write? So it meant a lot to me drawing that one. It was very special. And actually, I'm making my own dub of that one with my niece as Aurora in it. And hopefully,
Aww.
yeah, yeah. So I
I
already
would love to
have,
watch that.
hopefully I'll have it out soon. I already have Sonic and Amy recorded. I don't want to say who they are yet,
No
but I got some
worries.
really
I would still
nice
love to watch it.
people. Um, but yeah, hopefully I'll have that published soon.
Nice.
Oh, that's really cute that you want to involve your niece in this.
That's
It's so
adorable.
that
Yeah.
it makes it more authentic, because I know you talked about how like your niece was like also an inspiration,
Hmm.
so it makes it more authentic that you are involving like someone who was, obviously very inspiration for, your for Aurora, and that's just amazing.
I do have another question, actually.
I'll go ahead.
It's actually. I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah, now I remember what the question I was thinking of. What was the inspiration for not only Cece, Tails' assistant slash, I guess, love interest, if that's what you were trying to go for the character, and as well as like that new universe, like the Boom universe of Ruff and Tumble, aka T-Bone.
Yes. So Cece kind of came to me just out of the blue. She just kind of appeared in my head, like visually. I had a picture for her. She was this robotic character. So I was like, okay, she's trying to come into existence. I got to help her break through. What is this character wanting to be? And I kind of had this, you know, she was telling me like, yes, she's a robot, but she doesn't want to be a robot. She doesn't see herself as a robot. And so I ended up being this really special character. A lot of people have told me that they're able to identify with her, which is means the world to me. Um, I didn't go in like I want this character who's trying to find her identity. It just kind of happened that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so she is for those of you who don't know, she was this like ovoid robot character. She's not built by Eggman. She was built by somebody else, and she had a very advanced AI. And she was evolving much faster than her creator anticipated. He just built her as like an assistant to get his production line going, but she was becoming more sentient, and she was seeing the beauty in the world and going, there's more to me than what this little shell is. And her creator didn't like that, powered her
Yeah.
down. So she's got some trauma with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So decades later, Tails finds her, helps, can see her potential. And in my AU, he has like his own amazing technology industry and stuff like that. Because of course Tails would. I mean, that guy,
He's
the
always a
sky's the
genius.
limit.
He's just a
Yeah.
genius.
Yeah. So he takes her in and encourages her, and she again doesn't see herself as a robot. She knows she's meant to be organic, so that is the path that she's trying to take. And Tails supports her goal, and she ends up building herself, we call it a Robian body,
Mm-hmm.
not Mobian, but
Aerobian.
Robian. And his support and his warmth and his intelligence, she's attracted to it. So she does develop romantic feelings towards him. And just for my own AU, I like getting
Honestly, I
putting
like
the
it.
two of them together.
I do.
So
I do remember seeing like yeah, I believe it was one of the comic readers of where she actually had a flesh and blood body of her what she originally looked like as a Robian. And honestly, I loved
that's
it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I mean, it's my intention. Everything in my AU is non-linear. I'm just a fan, so I just draw things as I think of them. I'm not like making comics that have to be from point A to point C. So that drawing I did, it was just kind of like oh, this is what I'm picturing she'll look like when she becomes organic. I do have every intention of making her goal a reality at some point in my storyline. I do want her to achieve being an organic.
Achieving the
Um,
dream.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly. Haven't decided exactly how and when that's going to happen in my timeline, but I want the world for her. I want
Rough
her to
is
have
always a good one.
yeah. So as far as rough and tumble, I shipped Knuckles and Rouge together,
Obviously,
and I
the
was
stooge.
yes, and so I was trying to think of fan kits for them. A long time ago, I had experimented with like an echidna bat fusion, but personally, none of the designs I came up with clicked with me, so I tabled that. And at one point, I was kind of thinking, well, what if the two of them adopted? Because Knuckles is the last of his kind.
Right.
And a, a theme that we see, especially more often in more recent games, which I love,
Mm-hmm.
is that family is not just blood. There's found family. You make connections with other people that can be just as strong as a biological relationship.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I think that Knuckles would be interested in adopting children. I think he knows what it likes to
Be
be
alone.
alone and not have a community. And so he wants to take in those who feel alone and feel like they didn't have a community. And also, this is my own personal interpretation. I don't personally think Rouge wants to get pregnant. I think,
Mm.
no disrespect for her, but I think she just has a little bit of a thing where she's like, that does not interest me.
Right.
I'm a fan of the way my body looks. I want to keep it that way.
Right.
So if Knuckles suggested adoption, I personally think she'd be like, heck yeah, let's do it. So yeah, I don't know why I chose hyenas. Again, I just kind of when I'm coming up with characters, I just kind of start drawing and then the drawing kind of dictates itself. So I just
Honestly,
saw
yeah, hyena it kind of fits because you normally just see the usual typical like movie and species that we see like in the comics and whatnot. And like introducing hyenas into it, it's definitely a nice change up.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Uh, we see a lot of in the Sonic franchise unusual animals. I mean, hedgehogs weren't very popular when that came out. Echidnas, who had ever heard of echidnas?
Exactly.
Now we get a quokka, so it's like
And now an
hyena.
ostrich as well. And the
So
reintroduction of the jackal.
right, yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I can't quite remember why I chose hyenas, but it just felt right to me at that time. So
Still feels alright. Because again, it's a nice change from the usual species you normally see.
mhm.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like I feel like, when I saw the hyenas, I'm like, this is giving me Lion King vibes. You know how they can be so mischievous, and we see that in that comic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think it was like a perfect fit because wasn't it one of them that stole her leg in that
Yes.
party
Oh
shenanigans?
yeah,
So
that one was funny.
Yes.
and so I think, it was when I think of hyenas, I feel like they can be mischievous,
Hmm.
and I'm like, I think that was like perfect. And obviously,
It fits their IDW counterparts where they're mischievous and likes to steal.
mhm.
Yeah. The two of them, rough and tumble, they're just little goofy boys. I wanted to play into that like just playful, silly, high energy little kid, thing. And so I think it all ended up working out.
It did. It
Mhm.
turned out perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there any questions in the chat? Let me.
So far I haven't seen any new ones, as far as
Okay.
I can see.
Okay, gotcha. Here is my next question for you, Eve. Um, how did your life experiences influence your art style?
You mean, well, I'm trying to think. My art style. That's a tough one. I mean, definitely in my writing, my life experiences shape what I come up with. Like, for example, I told you, that comic, my niece, just watching my niece
Mm-hmm.
interact. I like slice of life stories, so I put a lot of my own experiences and things I've struggled with in my life or things that made me laugh in my life, and I want to see it how these characters would approach it. So certainly my storytelling, but I'm trying to think of for my style. When I was young, I read a lot of comics and I watched a lot of Sailor Moon. And
Same.
yeah, loved cartoons. I mean, I think all kids love cartoons, but I was particularly fascinated. And this was back in the day when you had VHS tapes. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would have tapes of different animated films. And I was so entranced by animation, like the movement, how they capture. It's not just like a character moving from one point to another. There's like arcs and there's a whole process to it. And so I used to, when I had those VHS, I would go like frame by frame by frame, hitting the pause button, just trying to like absorb how are they making this so dynamic, making it so full of life. It doesn't look like a drawing, it looks like something alive and moving. And I think that is something I always wanted to capture in my own art, even if I wasn't doing animation. If I was just trying to draw, I'm like, how can I make this look more alive? And so I would say that's probably the greatest influence on my style was just animated cartoons and comics in general. I just wanted to make something feel dynamic and alive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very understandable. Yeah, like animation is just such an interesting art, in the industry because it's like it's basically like still frames actually coming to life. You
Mm-hmm.
see these characters move and the visualization is there, and you kind of like, wow, it's like I love the way that, it really inspires, because I also love the way sometimes when you show movement with like Sonic Spin Dash in the comics. So in your comics, so I think you do a pretty stellar job at like showcasing like movement,
Thank
you
you.
know, where I'm like, oh, I could see this like as like an animation visualization. You're putting like the marks of like, I know that one when Aurora was writing her name, he's like leaning down and then he jumps and then I see that motion, like you're clearly showing, oh, it's like from this frame to that, and I think you do a stellar job on doing that.
Thank you.
All right. Chris, do you have another question?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have another question for
I'm
eBay?
trying to. Honestly, I don't have another one right now. I gotta think of one right now. Most of my questions for like the work is already been answered. I gotta think of some more.
Um, okay, I got you. I got you. I have a lot of questions, but I always like taking turns. All right. All right, eBay. Here is my next question for you. I'm very curious of like, what's your theory of how they're going to tackle Son Amy in Sonic Movie 4? I'm very curious.
Ooh, good question.
Okay. Uh, I mean, there's so many ways that they can do it, and I'm looking forward to it no matter what they do. I've heard tons of theories. I am a huge fan of the idea that he's into her, that he's like so impressed, like, oh my God, not only is there a girl here, but she kicks butt and she's pretty and she's got a giant hammer. Like, I love the idea of him being um just totally head over heels.
It's like the roles are
I
reversed.
Yeah, well, I still want her to be into him, obviously. Okay, here is my totally just story writing. I'm not saying that they're going to do this. This is just like how I would do it.
Go for it.
I like the idea that she and Sonic actually knew each other back on his planet when he was
Oh.
kids, when they were
Ooh.
kids. I I because when she shows up at the end of the movie, she gives kind of this like knowing smirk when
Mm-hmm.
he says,
Mm-hmm.
"Who are you?" And she kind of does, and so I'm like, "Ooh, what if they knew each other? What if whether they were friends or maybe they just crossed paths? Like when we first see Sonic as a child in Sonic 1, he's bringing a flower back to a Longclaw, his mother figure.
Yeah, she was
Like,
Mm-hmm.
what if just before that he had met Amy and they were playing, just two little kids playing together and picking flowers, and she gives him that flower even, and he's like, okay, yeah, let's go play tomorrow, I'll meet you back here. And then his whole world comes apart because the Echidna warriors come and he gets sent to Earth and stuff, and they never meet each other again until now that they're grown up. So I think that would be a really fun, interesting way to do it, and kind of parallel what happens with the games, because they knew each other when they were kids, and then there was some time that passed, and Amy changed the way she looked and the way she dressed before they ended up meeting again in Sonic Adventure. So, not saying that that's what they'll do, but I'm like, that's how I would do it if I got to write it.
When you think about it,
Mm.
like each, like Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, like they all have one thing in common, aside from the obvious, they came from the same, planet that they were from. They all knew Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
Like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, Tails heard stories, legends about Sonic somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And for Knuckles, like his tribe was after him because of the power, as well as the like looking for the location of the Master Emerald. And then
Mm-hmm.
with the idea of what you were saying there, Evay, like they could have like for Amy and Sonic, they could have like met each other when they were younger. They played together. She gave him the flower to give to Longclaw until that whole thing that happened. They're all connected in one way.
Yeah. Yeah. I just
Mm-hmm.
think that would be a fun way to weave her in the story. But we'll see. I'm team Amy no matter what they decide to do with it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, like because they can go in any direction. Like I think another theory that fans have like been speculating like, oh, probably like movie Sonic's gonna fall for her first and then maybe movie Amy will feel the same, but we'll just try to play it cool.
Yeah.
So because obviously movie Sonic, like the movies of of Sonic the Hedgehog, it's like a girl coming of age thing. And
Yes.
they literally, I think there was like a quote that they said that like, oh yeah, this is gonna be like a like there's gonna be a hint of romance in it in movie four. That's what they're hinting at. So it's like, oh, is this gonna be a rom-com comedy thing?
I think so.
Like, so I'm just like, interesting. I was like, I'm wondering how this will play out when obviously you have Metal Sonic coming into the picture,
Mm-hmm.
So
They'll
it's
probably kind
like,
of add in like the whole rom com thing along with the like how Sonic and Amy first met, which was like in Sonic CD, where Metal also made his debut as well.
hmm. So I think, like if you Like I kind of feel like they probably, I even told my friends, what if they pull like this funny thing where it's kind of similar to K-pop Demon Hunters with Rumi and Chinu, and then the music comes in when when it's obviously with Movie Sonic sing and he's like, whoa. And
Yes,
then I could totally see that happening too.
absolutely.
Most
Um,
definitely.
and but it's just a reverse, obviously, and like with Sonic being Roomy, and then Amy would be like Genu or something. So,
Right.
um, and you could just hear like some romance music in the background while it's
I'm
happening.
picturing like she just did something awesome. There's explosions behind her. Her quills are waving in
Glowing.
the and it's got that Lady in Red song. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
are too young for that one, but
Um,
that's like
yeah, very
what I'm
old.
picturing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So they can go in like any direction because they're it's very clear from just like that specific dialogue. I forgot who said it, but they're like, "Oh yeah, Sonic's going to be dealing with something he's never dealt with before, girls."
Which
So
is definitely true. He's talked to girls before, but never one that was his own species.
Yeah, that you could say like the only time like before Maddie, obviously, it's obviously, Longclaw. But
Yes.
Mhm.
she's like a grown adult, adult woman who's obviously an owl.
Yes.
Plus, he was still
Um,
young during the time. He didn't know anything about
mhm,
love.
So I think, with what they're hinting at, like, because I could definitely see if they go down the route of like maybe like Tails BL teasing him, kind of like all his other iterations. Like, I know there's something going on between the two of you, and he feels, and then he could probably tease Movie Sonic about it too.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
yeah.
I feel like Knuckles will be doing a lot of teasing with that.
yeah. And I think what the movies do pretty well, as you both mentioned earlier, that they actually the they all have a connection to Sonic in some way. Obviously with like I think with like Shadow, even though they don't directly have a connection, they have the connection of um
Of what
what
they
was it?
experience.
Yeah, what they experience, with loss, you know,
Hmm.
because obviously Game Sonic can't really relate to Shadow, like
Right.
he can't really relate to his pain. So obviously Sonic is kind of just like trying to piece everything together. So he doesn't have the full picture. Meanwhile,
Hmm.
with movie Sonic, like he has that connection because he lost his like adoptive mother, to the echidnas. And then Shadow ended up losing Maria.
Right.
So, and he can give him that pep talk that like, there's no winners when there's revenge,
Hmm.
and I kind of like how he remembers what Tom was like telling him earlier in the movie that like, he's like, you didn't let what happened to you change who you are,
Hmm.
so because if movie Sonic did let that change him, he'd probably be exactly like Shadow, like
Yeah.
trying to get revenge, on the echidnas. But in a way, he made peace with it because obviously obviously he's friends with Movie Knuckles.
Hmm.
So, I think the movies do such a great job of like they all have some specific connection to Sonic. Like you could say, like I wouldn't really say he's like considered the chosen one, but he just has like these connections from like other characters where they can like connect to him, you know. So I think that's such a beautiful message that like movie Sonic doesn't realize he has like this impact on other
Yeah.
characters and in a
Yeah.
way. So
I really, one of the things that I really like about movie Sonic is he shows so much more vulnerability than we
mhm.
see in the games. And obviously, love Game Sonic, love IDW Sonic, no complaints there. But this is just such a unique new side of Sonic that we're seeing in the movies. He's not afraid to show some emotion. He's not I mean, he still plays cocky and cool, but when he's got to have a deep talk with somebody and try to get through with them, he's willing to do it, and it's nice to see that.
Hmm.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
showed that
like
during like the second movie. Like for instance, he could have chose to swim away and try to get out of the water and like get to safety, but he
Mm-hmm.
chose to like do the right thing by saving Knuckles, who saved his life. And then like when it came to movie three, like he could have taken Shadow's life after what he did to Tom,
Yeah.
but he remembered what Tom told him, and basically giving them a second chance to actually, redeem themselves, which they did, and they brought
Mm-hmm.
out Live and Learn. Beautiful.
Oh my god. Still get chills.
When I
yeah,
first heard that, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
like I kind of feel like Live and Learn was like a thematic choice, which makes a lot of sense because Live and Learn, I actually did a Q&A with Johnny and he actually
Same.
explained the actual meaning of Live and Learn. So it's like it's a very thematic, it's a very deliberate thematic theming they were doing.
Mm.
So I think that was like perfectly executed. That it's not just there for fan service, obviously, because obviously Live and Learn is the most popular song, but they
Yeah.
were doing it for thematic purpose in the movie. And I like that they did that.
Mm.
Like the movies are like on a whole different level. Like they give these characters some depth, you
Yes.
know. Because I'm very curious to know what is like Amy's like backstory. I want
Mm-hmm.
to see how if it's going to be similar in some way or if it's like different. Like like you never know what they're going to come up with. So I think the movie 4 is definitely something to look forward to. And I love how Metal Sonic looks exactly like his game counterpart.
Quite a bit more detail to him.
I was like, oh my goodness. Because all the characters, um, from what we've seen so far, like you know how it usually with Sonic, Shadow, and Amy, they have that one, like their eye is like a whole one thing, but in the
Yeah.
movies it's like two.
Yeah.
So and then seeing Metal as being like the most like, whoa, they translated this pretty well
Mm-hmm.
into like CGI live action. I was like, it's gonna be very interesting to see what they like come up with. So I think they did like a stellar job with that,
Oh
and
yeah.
and the momentum of the Sonic movies has just been great. Literally, it's one of the few like movies where the sequels just keep getting better and better. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because I remember when they announced movie two, I was like, ooh, and then I was like, okay, like this is pretty good. And then when movie three came out, I'm like, okay, I'm so glad they did not put as much filler because in movie two, the wedding was like
Yeah.
very unnecessary.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that right now, but
Mm-hmm.
it was funny, where I kind of see where they were going with this, and then I was like, but to me, I'm like, I'm sorry, Gun, but you went the most convoluted way to capture Sonic, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I was like, I get it, you couldn't really do the direct approach, but I'm like, this is so convoluted, and I agree with Rachel on this. I was like, who uses someone for a fake wedding? I'm like, yeah, nobody in their right mind would do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the the movies are silly and they're a different world and they're catering to audiences that aren't just me, but I
Mhm.
definitely like the direction that it's more focused on Sonic and crew and less on the humans because even though these characters are good and like Agent Stone, oh my god, I love him to death. I love him. But apart from that, I'm kind of like, let's stop with the human stories. Can we really like
Mhm.
downplay that? So I don't know what four will be like, but I thought three was definitely an improvement in comparison
Hmm.
to the other two in that
Yeah.
regard.
Yeah. Like I would say it was very necessary to have to have Gerald there because obviously Gerald is a huge part of Shadow's backstory. You
Yes.
know, obviously and of course Maria. So it was very necessary to have both of them in there. Obviously with Maria, it was like through flashbacks because she's already dead, you
Hmm.
know.
And
But I
Gerald
think
still being alive after 50 years.
yeah, but I'm really glad how they explained it though, because he kept like he's just like his grandson just putting the quill in his mouth. Um, but yeah, the movies just do such a like I feel like movie 3 they adapted it pretty well where it would make more sense.
Yes.
They made Maria like not sick, which I think was actually pretty beneficial because we
Mm.
can see her like more playful side, and we actually see her and Shadow like bonding, through the flashbacks, and she's not sick, because if she was sick, she wouldn't be able to do all that stuff,
Hmm.
especially the rollerblading,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in the hallways. So yeah, definitely for sure. Is there any new questions in the chat, Chris?
No, but I finally thought of a question.
Okay, sure.
So, for Aurora, like her abilities, like aside from the obvious, getting her father's speed, obviously, like, what kind of ability did you actually give her?
So Aurora's main thing is she has photokinetic abilities. So she has the ability to manipulate light. Um, so, in simple terms, she can make things glow. But if you look into the science of what light is and radio waves and all that stuff, there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more to it than that. And so in recent years, have had more exploration and trying to figure out what all she can do. And in that process, that's what her character is trying to learn too. I don't just glow and I don't just turn invisible. Like I can manifest things. I can deflect UV rays. I can, you know, light is her main thing. And originally that was something that she also thought made her pretty lame. One of Aurora's faults is she is pretty self-conscious and insecure. And so when she finds out she has these light abilities, she's like, well, great. What am I supposed to do with this? This doesn't do me any good. But that's her primary thing. I also gave her a little bit of Amy's like psychic, like magic in a way. Aurora has premonitions in the form of dreams, but it's not something that she has mastered very well at this. In most of my comics, at best, it's like very ambiguous and vague. It more so gives her a sort of feeling of something that's about to happen. She doesn't know what will. It's just like I can sense something bad is going to happen. I can sense something positive is on the way. She needs to ask Amy's assistance to help her cultivate that skill of hers.
Hmm.
I do
Yeah.
I do remember in like one of the like the one of your comics that like that didn't have like no dialogue but like the expressions, the movements in there, like when like the one where she turned dark, like it really
Mm.
showed like like her powers really show like connecting with her emotions. Like she
Mm-hmm.
literally hurt anyone, even her own family and the people she loved, her friends, family, even her own father.
Yeah. So her powers, I wanted to be really heavily influenced by her emotions. And because she's, very bubbly and joyous, that typically manifests in the form of like glowing, really bright colors. But with that comic that you're mentioning, which was just like an experimental thing, it's not really part of my canon. But I wanted to think if there was something that like broke her, something that made her feel so empty, what would that be? And so she becomes like the opposite of light. I call her eclipse, and she becomes like this void. She's becomes Vanta black in color. So like she absorbs all light. It's just pure, complete darkness. So yeah, I mean, emotions are good and bad, right?
Yeah.
So
And depending on what exactly like drove her to go into that form, really, made her snap. And
mhm.
even like again, even hurting the people she loves and the person that she loves, like just to I guess get a point out in a way. Even though like you said, it was just an experiment, so we won't really know what exactly happened except for yourself there.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, it was just an idea I have. Not all of my ideas are necessarily canon or whatever, but I just want to get the thought out and see if anything comes from it.
Hey, I liked it. It
Mm.
really shows like an inside of her, like I said, like she's normally like like happy, like she has a lot of positive emotion, and then you show like you have a comic that shows, when like something happens that ends up like triggering her going into a negative side of herself,
Mhm.
Mhm.
absorbing light, converting it into darkness. That makes her, it's just my like add on to it, like making her more powerful, making the negative side more powerful. Which is why she was doing like, even if I remember correctly, even Super Shadow wasn't able to stop her in that little comic. That's how strong it was.
I think that's correct. I think when I first drew that, the idea was that like she was almost undefeatable, but in the end, whatever that story would be, she does end up coming back to her senses, because I always want to drive home the message that good triumphs over evil, that love always wins no matter what.
Indeed.
um yeah, so even though I didn't have a story, it was just like little just vignettes of what a story might be. In the end of that one, she does get snapped back into reality. So
It was a
Mhm.
good story to me. Even without
thank you.
words, and it showed like the movements and everything. Like it conveyed the words into movements. Like like what was happening, what she was dealing with, and how she was brought back, and like her seeing the damages and she's caused the people she hurt without even realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, like yeah, you just have this really great sense of like conveying like, the emotions, in the expressions and the way the words are like I think I think it's really very telling that you can put it visually in a comic because comics you can only do so much to show like movement, but you have done such a great job with like showcasing that.
Thank you very much. That means the world to me.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Here is my next question for you, Evay. What got you into the Sonic franchise? I want to hear your backstory on this.
Oh goodness. I just he always was to me. I was born in 1991, and that's when Sonic was made. And so I have older siblings, and they had a Sega Genesis. And so I have no memory without Sonic in it. When I finally gained sentience, when I suddenly like stopped being just a baby that moves around, and I actually was aware of my surroundings, Sonic was already there. So he was always a part of my life. And I have no idea where or who I would be without him. I like he's shaped so much of who I am today just because he's always been there. He's always been this like source of inspiration and motivation. And I'm just like fascinated by him. It's like I can't imagine if I was born in a different time period. I don't know who she would be. She wouldn't be Evay. That's all I can say.
Yeah, like like the Sonic franchise is it's been such a wild ride. It has like its ups and its downs, but the ups, it has been going up more recently, in the recent years of the franchise, and Sonic has all shaped us in a way where it has been like an inspiration in our lives. Like I always follow by this one quote that Sonic told Elise in Sonic '06, like nothing starts until you take action.
Mm,
And that quote stayed with me where I'm like, you know what? Like, yeah, if you want to go for what you want, you gotta do it. You gotta start somewhere. You gotta do it.
mm-hmm.
So I think like, Sonic is just inspirational for a lot of Sonic fans, like obviously he was already like showing like an attitude in Pixels.
Yes. Yeah.
Like if you waited too long on the screen, he'll be like tapping his toe like to show his impatience. And I'm like, and this was during the time in Pixels that he was
Right.
showing personality. Meanwhile with like Mario, you didn't really see that in the
Mm-hmm.
Pixels too much. Like you don't see expression, but Sonic was already showcasing a bit of his personality in Pixels, and doing something as simple as like him tapping his leg, like, or, obviously it's kind of like, I'm waiting,
Yes.
so it's kind of like he's already showcasing his personality in Pixels, which is crazy. And then they kind of adapted that into like the 90s Sonic cartoons,
Mm-hmm.
where obviously in the Sonic Sad AM theme song is like he's one with the attitude. I'm like, yeah, he technically is.
Yeah.
He's already showcasing his personality so well. And I think that's why, and obviously the Sonic franchise introduces like animals we'd never heard of. I'm like, I didn't even know what a hedgehog was
Right.
until I got into this franchise, and I never even heard of what an echidna was. So I literally looked it up. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've never seen an echidna in my entire life. And 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 another one, obviously, with Barry, the quokka, and you're like, what's a quokka? Like it's
Yeah.
introducing all these animals you've never heard of,
Yeah.
which is great. So I think with with them showcasing the personality little by little, obviously when they start going into more 3D stuff, they can showcase it a bit more with the dialogue, because dialogue is also very, very telling.
Mm-hmm.
But with them just doing a simple animation, which they didn't really need to, because back in the day, when they did it in pixels, it was the technology was very limited, and but they went that extra mile to put that extra detail if you made Sonic wait too long.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Sonic franchise is, it has a lot of like great characters in it. Like it's not just about, Sonic, it's about all these other characters. Obviously, Sonic is the centerpiece because
Mm-hmm.
it's the franchise named after him, but it's like when they start focusing on other characters, it's like, hey, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love when a franchise does that, and I feel, um especially I kind of feel like I'm going to go back to the movies because the movies kind of emphasizes that a lot more with backstories, than the games have done. Obviously, the one with the most would be Shadow, obviously, and we
Mm-hmm.
got more of that with Shadow Generations. But once you start tapping into these other characters like background story, it just like, oh, it just culminates in all of them converging together. And they're all like such great characters, because like I was like, oh, cool, neat. Like this is such an interest, like, oh, these characters talk to each other and they have like, specific dynamics and interactions. Obviously, with racing cross worlds, you see their interactions with each other.
Yeah.
The rival interactions. So I think, it adds like it makes them more human,
Mm-hmm.
like they're not like robots static robots on the screen. They got attitudes, they all have different personality archetypes, and 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 they clearly showed that some of these characters will clash with each other. Um, obviously, we've seen the clashing with the rivalries, pretty well. So because as I said, it makes them more human.
Hmm.
It makes them relatable. Like if you relate to a specific character, neat, because they kind of show representation
Oh yeah.
in different character archetypes. Like if you don't relate to Sonic, that's fine. If you kind of relate more to Tails, that's cool. So having all these different character archetypes, it makes them more human.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really respect the character designs because not only are they visually so different from each other and unique,
Hmm.
all of the canon characters that I can think of are like so multi-dimensional. It
Hmm.
doesn't feel like, oh, we just put in a green bird because we have to put in a green bird, like
Hmm.
each character that they introduce, I feel like they put a lot of thought behind and they feel multi-dimensional, and I really respect that, especially from something that started as a game.
Hmm.
I mean, it's so cool to have seen where this originated from and what it's blossomed into. And I like that they aren't afraid to take risks here and there.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it doesn't work out every time, not necessarily,
Yeah.
and not everybody loves it, but that's kind of what's cool about it. And I feel the same way about Batman. Like there's a Sonic for everyone. Like
Hmm.
because there's so many different iterations, there
Hmm.
is a version that you might connect with really well and other people don't, and that's fine. And there might be a version of it that you don't really care for, but it speaks to other people. And
Hmm.
so that's what's cool about not only a franchise that's been around this long, but has been willing to experiment and try new things along the way.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, there's like so many different iterations of Sonic. We have obviously the main games, we have IDW, we have like the comics, the Archie comics.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Fleetway comics, we have Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
That's its own separate iteration. And we have the classic one. If you're a classic fan, hey, you do you. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that, and being able, and of course obviously they actually have all these different iterations, and I've really have grown to love movie Sonic because it's more of like a coming of age thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of feel like they portray that very well in the movies. Because people have pointed out when they're like, oh my gosh, did you see how much he's grown in the
Yes.
different movies? So they're clearly showing physically he's growing up.
Yeah, he was like this big in the first movie.
And then now he's literally physically growing up, and he's learning a little bit of wisdom,
Mhm.
from obviously from Tom. And I think what was interesting in the Knuckles series, like literally like Maddie's like, okay, we need to do something about Knuckles. And then Sonic kind of like says, well, he's just like adapting. We need to give him the space to like learn these stuff, because obviously he's still learning,
Mhm.
in the Knuckles series. And then Sonic's like, hey, but he literally said, but I had a family that was patient enough to let me figure it all out. And then Manny's like, when did you get so wise? Like she's surprised,
Yeah.
that like it's like, aren't we supposed to be the ones parenting you? Like she kind of gives up like, aren't we supposed to be the ones parenting you? um,
Bless you.
but
Thank you.
oh, bless you. But I think having all these different iterations of Sonic, it really like they all have the very essence of his core characteristics.
Hmm.
Obviously movie Sonic still has a bit of cockiness,
Yeah.
but it's not as like he's more, you could say he's a little bit humbled little by little,
Yeah.
you know, because obviously he's still growing up. And then meanwhile, currently, from what I've seen, like with main game Sonic, he's a little bit more humble. Sure, he can be cocky still, but it's a little bit toned down where he's like, if someone's trying to like make him, kind of trying to get into the rivalry thing, he's like, okay, sure. Like he's just so humble now. Like think of it as like very similar to like Ash Ketchum, if you know from the OG Pokemon anime, he was like roasting everybody in the original. But then by the end of his journey, he ends up being more humbled and he's just chill,
Mm.
So that's kind of how I see it with like Sonic. Like he's learned to be a little like humble, because people are like, oh, you're no fun. It's like I'm trying to do some rivalry banter with you. And Sonic's just like, okay.
Yeah.
you know, um, so so yeah, the franchise just has like different iterations where if you don't relate to one, that's okay. They
Hmm.
have like an iteration that you can relate to. So yeah. All right, Chris, do you have another question for Evay?
No, but I did see a text question from Cookie, and they ask, let's see, so about Aurora, what made you think she was a perfect partner for Shadow?
I feel like I already
Yeah,
talked about that earlier. I can go into it again.
Yeah, I don't think she was in there when you were talking about it.
Okay. Should I say it again?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I wasn't anticipating to give Aurora a romantic interest. I said this before, but this was back when I was trying to like figure out who she is, and like I was bullet listing her personality and her traits and stuff. And I realized that she kind of was sort of like the opposite of Shadow. And so then I thought, I wonder what the two of them would be like if they were to interact with each other. And Aurora is very much a fangirl and very much a romantic. And she's heard all these stories about Shadow, who's this ultimate life form, and he's immortal and he's perfect in every way. And so if she got to meet him, she'd be like so excited and geeking out over him. And I just thought the two of them would complement each other pretty well. Like he would be more encouraged to uh, stop and smell the roses, be more encouraged to enjoy the world around him. He's not so focused on fighting and missions and protecting people. He's allowed to just figure out who he is as a hedgehog, because even though he was bioengineered and created to be either a weapon or a medicinal rescue for somebody else, he has his own personality and his own soul and stuff. And I thought she would be a good way to bring that out of him. And likewise, she is little, her positivity is a good thing, but sometimes um, she needs to be a little bit more realistic. And did I mess something up? Can you
Nope.
guys still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
I can
sorry.
still
I
hear
got
you.
a notification saying don't use hand gestures.
What?
That was
Oh.
weird. Uh, I keep my hands down. Uh, anyway, I think that he helps to ground her a little bit more. So I just started experimenting with their interactions, and it kind of blossomed into a romance. And I had a lot of fun exploring that. And I like their dynamic a lot together. So that's just my personal preference. And I understand if people don't like it, that's totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, because I know like Aurora really does like she really does have the characteristics of her mother where she can make friends with anybody. You know, because Amy has like this very interesting thing to make friends with people. You know, like
Hmm.
especially with like someone like Shadow. Like Sonic, obviously, like him and Shadow, they're not buddy buddy at all. You know,
Right.
it's kind of like they kind of just learn to respect each other in that regard. And Amy, meanwhile, because I think in like those Twitter takeovers, they have mentioned a bit that like Shadow does spend time with Amy.
Hmm.
So in a way, Aurora does have like that characteristics of her mother, you know, that she's like, oh, it's like, but I think I also love the fact that Sonic is like, I still can't believe my daughter chose you of all people
Yeah.
and to date. Like,
Yeah. He's not thrilled about it.
yeah, because it's funny because it's like Sonic's like, oh, like if my daughter ever marries you, you're technically gonna be my son-in-law.
Yeah.
Like, and I kind of like how you showed that in the party shenanigans one where they get like where they're
Uh,
drinking.
yeah.
And then
I
he
had a
literally
lot
has
of fun with
Shadow
that.
and he's like, "Are you old enough to drink?" Like he literally has Shadow. Like, "Are you old enough to drink?" And the Shadow's like, he just swipes the thing from him. Um, so like, but I think my favorite part in that entire party shenanigans comic that you did, Evay, was literally when Aurora like took a photo of them both when they were drunk, and then she's like,
Oh.
I'm gonna send this out to everybody. No.
I
Yeah.
had a lot of fun dubbing that one. It was so much fun.
Oh, like, and then Amy is just proud of her daughter. That's my girl.
Yeah.
And
And
she's like,
Sonic
I
just
taught you
saying,
well.
You have permission to." Shadow saying, "You have permission to leave." I don't believe him.
So it's just so funny. And then Sonic has to like deal, in your AU that he's like he has to deal with the fact that his daughter is dating his rival.
Yeah.
So it's just intriguing because it's like Sonic's like it could have been any other guy, but it had to be my rival of all people. Like,
Right. I mean, let's be real, at least in my stories, he wouldn't have been happy whoever it was. But it's
mhm.
Yeah,
like,
that's
really,
so true.
yeah, it had to be the person who drives me up the wall.
Like I just love the fact that I think when it was in the Boom Baby comic and then he's like if it's a boy, oh yeah, I'm gonna teach him how to get on Eggman's nerves.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like if it's a girl, oh chaos if it's a girl. And then he
Oh
gets
yeah,
into
I
his like
remember that
little
one.
and then Amy's like, okay, can you not plan your killing spree, please? It was like, oh my gosh. At least we kind of see that, like, oh, if it's a girl, he's gonna be like very super overprotective,
Yeah.
you know?
It was a sign of what was to come for sure.
It was like his daddy instincts for protecting his little girl just came in. It was like, if it's a girl, oh no. And he's like, yeah, so
Bro will do whatever it takes to protect his daughter.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. I'm very curious about this. This is my next question for you, eBay. Um, if you can suggest another Sonami merchandise, what would it be and why?
Oh my goodness.
Because we have been getting some Sonami merchandise more nowadays.
I have all the shirts. I
Oh
was
my
debating
God.
wearing one today, but I like because when I was at Sonic Expo, every day I had a different Son Amy shirt to wear, and I'm like, these are all official. This is excellent. Um, and I have the Son Amy bouquet that came out for Valentine's Day. So
Oh.
Mm.
delicious. Ooh, what would it be? I would be happy with anything. Um, Does a game count? Would we
Oh,
count that as merch? I would love that if in the games we got more Son Amy content.
oh.
Otherwise, I guess more art of the two of them in general. I want to see.
Mm,
I um I love all my Sonic merch, but my favorites are whenever they release new artwork. They're not just repurposing the old art that they have in the past. This is why
mhm.
my Sonic Crossworld shirt I love so much because it's new Amy art. So I would
Mhm.
love to see whether that's in the form of a shirt or whether that's in prints or on books or something. I would love to see some more original art of the two of them being cute together, like they have on Sonic Channel for the calendars and stuff. You
Yeah.
Oh,
know, every
yeah.
month they come out with new art, and I'm like, let's see the two of them interacting. I would love that.
Yeah. I think what I would love if it's like maybe like a statue,
Yes.
because I'm not sure if because they've done this for Miraculous actually, Evay. They actually made like a Ladybug and Cat Noir like statue. It's
Aw.
very, very expensive. Let me see if I could find that quick. Because it's very expensive and it's literally from the Zag store.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh, this is so cute. Like I would love for it if they actually did a like statue of them being like maybe very romantic or something.
That's a great suggestion. I love it. I'm on
Like
board.
okay, let me see if I could put it in this chat here. Wait, where's the chat? I should be able there. I put it in the chat here in the Zoom meeting.
Oh,
Kind of
this is so cute.
so maybe something similar, but just have like Sonic and Amy be more, obviously natural.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, I think that would be very cute if they did like an actual statue of the
I
two
love
of
it.
them.
I love
Because
it.
like we haven't seen that at all with like Sonic, like with both Sonic and Amy. It's
Mm-hmm.
either like Sonic by himself or Amy by himself. It's like we've
Yeah.
never seen them like on the same statue or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, if you make a petition for that, I'll be the first to sign. You got me.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, Chris. Do you have another question for
No.
eBay?
Now my questions are all answered. I got no more
Ah,
at this point.
okay. Ooh, okay. Here is my next question for you, eBay. What is your favorite Sonic game and why?
Okay, this is unexpected unless you know me, but my favorite is the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. That's my favorite.
Yay!
It's
Let's
so
go.
good. I love it for so many reasons. First of all, the story is just adorable. It is so fun and
Mhm.
silly. And I think you could just tell that everyone who worked on it had a great time. I
Mhm.
love the idea of a graphic adventure. Like, I
Mhm.
love graphic adventures, and I don't think we've ever had one in Sonic before.
Nope.
And I loved it. It was so good. And the art was gorgeous. Like every second of it was just so pleasing to look at. And it was free. I can't believe
Yeah.
they released it for free. Just because, just for the fans. So,
Mhm.
oh my God. I mean, I know that's like sounds silly, but it's one of those like I just love it so much because it seemed like such a passion project.
Mhm.
So will always be peak for me. Tie for second is Sonic Adventure 2.
Nice.
So good. So good. The replay value on that is incredible. I can still power it up right now and play it and have just as much fun playing it as I did the first time.
Mhm.
Just so good. And then I really, really enjoyed Sonic Frontiers. The
Nice.
gameplay is not something that I thought I would like because I'm not really an open world kind of person. I
Hmm.
like, well, that's not true because I like to play Uncharted and the Arkham games. But I
Mm.
wasn't expecting to like it for a Sonic game, but I
Yeah.
really did. But the thing that sold me the most was the story. I love how they went more serious with it and it was more dramatic.
Hmm.
And we got to see the characters addressing internal mental, emotional issues that they haven't addressed before.
Hmm.
And I loved that they went there with it. So
Hmm.
that's like at the top of the list for me as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like Frontiers, they do such a great job of like, obviously, with Amy, she's like, I need to be away from Sonic. I want to, because, from the experience of witnessing these two lover Cocos, you know, who had a tragic end. And she's like, I need to be away from you and, spread this love to the world, you know and I and then obviously with Knuckles, obviously he was so used to like guarding the Master Emerald, he didn't really have a life of his own.
Mm-hmm.
That role was just thrust upon him. And then literally, that scene with Knuckles and Sonic, like literally, like in a way, when I saw the interaction between them, it kind of reminded me of Riku and Sora from Kingdom Hearts 2,
Mm,
where Knuckles is kind of like envious of the way Sonic lives,
yeah.
because like Sonic doesn't have any responsibility to guard like a powerful gem, and literally when I saw that scene, I was just like, why does this feel like it's Riku and Sora all over again from Kingdom
Mm,
Hearts 2? Because with for those, I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, but I saw the similarities. Like Knuckles was obviously pretty jealous of the way Sonic can live. And Riku literally said, I wish I can live life the way you do, just following your heart. And it kind of gave me that vibe. And then now at the end of the game, the characters are now having their own resolves of like, hey, um, like Amy's like, hey, I'm gonna hang out with the girls, right? I wonder if Styx, like she mentioned Styx,
yeah.
which was like great. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting them to do a Boom reference. Cool. And then with Tails, it's like, oh, you won't recognize me once I come back. And then Knuckles is like, oh, I can't wait to get back to, to the island. But it's like, of course, I want to see the world too. Like they're all kind of going under different paths,
Hmm.
you know, and I think, um, but I think what was also funny is that Roger has mentioned this at a convention that like of how the voice direction for his Sonic voice was.
Yeah.
And I laughed so hard because he's like, oh, okay, you want me to do this? And they're like, lower. It's like, okay. And then he tried to do another variation. It's like lower. It's like lower, lower. And it's over, Egghead. It's like, there, that's it. You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Like, because Roger is so used to playing like a Sonic that's like, yeah, but then he's like, I gotta go serious for this. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't expecting it. So um I think with what people but I have to say Roger did a great job. I would say like he captured a more serious Sonic and he can do a serious Sonic,
Hmm.
and to me it was like a breath of fresh air because it's like, because Roger, during Roger's, time of being Sonic, like he hasn't been given where he can be very serious. And Frontiers
Hmm.
was pretty much like where he can be serious. So that's what I always appreciated about Frontiers. Um, and of course, Murder Sonic, very, very solid. And I kind of like how it takes place on Amy's birthday of all characters,
Yes. Yes.
which I
So
was like,
sweet.
I was not expecting it because the only birthday thing that we've seen is Sonic's birthday. So it's like, hmm, this takes place during Amy's birthday.
Yes.
Interesting, you know. But one thing that I would say that they had the missed opportunity. Um, I wish they would have referenced Scooby-Doo in it.
Oh, how so?
Because you know that one scene at the end of the game where like Eggman's just like waiting for the train to take them to him,
Yes.
and he's just like waiting, and then to me they could have put, and he could have referenced it of like, and I would have gone away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling rodents or something. And it was such a missed opportunity. I'm like, come on, you should have referenced Scooby Doo in some way because that would have got me hyped. Because it's a murder mystery game. And I'm like,
Right.
what franchise that you can think of other than, the Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew, Scooby Doo? Because it's a mystery solving franchise. And I was like, that was such a missed opportunity. So I was like, you gotta be kidding me. How did they miss this opportunity?
That would have been funny.
Yeah, I would have laughed my butt off. But I think, having it be like I think, would you call it like a graphic novel game, I guess?
A
That's what,
graphic adventure,
yeah,
yes.
graphic adventure. Like I think that was like, I know, like, it would have been cool if they had voice acting, but I think, it was completely fine.
Hmm.
You can still tell just with static images of, the characters, like emotions. I think they did that pretty well in that game. So, but I think what was also funny is that they decided to release this on April Fools, and people were like, no, this gotta be a joke.
I thought it was. I legitimate, and I was even like reblogging it, and I'm like, oh man, if only this was real. And everyone was like, it's real. Well, go home and play it.
And then you check, wait, it's on Steam? Oh my gosh, this is real. And then I think
Yes.
Sega literally had to say, no, this is real. We're not joking.
Yeah. I don't know why they chose to do that. Not the best idea, but live and learn.
Oh, but yeah, but Cookie does bring up the point that Vector did a reference to Scooby-Doo in Racing Cross Worlds. I'm like, when I first heard that, people literally were like, oh my gosh, is Scooby-Doo gonna be DLC? I'm like, whoa, 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 people. I think it's just a reference. I'm like, first off, Sega would have to go to Warner Brothers about that.
You never know.
Um, I kind of just put low expectation because I think it's just a reference. Like
Hmm.
I don't really look into it that much because I was like, it'd be cool if you could play Shaggy and Scooby, like, probably
Yeah.
driving the mystery machine.
Yeah.
Because like they have cars. I was like, mystery machines like the closest, and if you want to like model your car after the mystery machine's colors, that'd be great. But yeah, but that's cool, that because not a lot of people have said that Murder of Sonic's their favorite game, even though it's pretty critically acclaimed. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, a lot of people just jump to like what they think of the traditional games, and that's why I definitely wanted to highlight Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Frontiers as well. But yeah, Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog is, it just like stood out to me so much, and I always want to hype it up as much as possible because I'm like, please make more stuff like that, make more fun, different, unexpected things like that.
Hmm. Ooh, okay. Um, I think we have time for one more question. Chris, choose whichever question in the chat.
Let's see. Alright, we do have one from Omegas, and they said, "What is your favorite? What is your reaction of Amy and Sonic chatting with each other, and also copying each other's line when attacking their enemies and attacking each other's? I don't know. Are they talking about from Sonic Racing Crossroads?
I'm not sure. It does can you specify that, Omegas?
It's like,
I don't know if it's in general or if it's
okay, yeah,
specific to a game.
yeah, he knitted Cookie. Can
Oh,
he like confirmed it? They're talking about in regards to Crossworlds.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So is the question, what is my reaction to their interactions, or
Yeah,
is it that they?
like during the race, like you, like yeah, for instance, if you were racing as like Sonic, he said something to Amy that like it sounded like he was actually I don't know what you could call it, but like like being a bit too friendly. I don't know. I don't remember. I've seen the interaction, but I don't remember what he said in that interaction.
Oh
Well,
wait,
the
oh wait,
inner
are you talking about when Amy hits Sonic with
As
an
well,
item?
yeah, as well as when Sonic hits her with an item.
I think when Amy hits Sonic, she's like, got your attention, Sonic, and then like Sonic's like, you got my attention now, Amy. Uh, I don't remember the other one.
That's the only one I
Me
know.
neither.
I haven't experienced a different interaction.
Hmm. Okay, gotcha.
Either way, I love the way that they banter with each other. I think it's very cute and friendly and like kind of digging at each other in a like cutesy kind of way. Like it's not aggressive. Um, I just think it's cute. If there's another line, I just haven't experienced it.
I haven't. I don't
Hmm.
remember any other lines he made that he could have said.
Hmm. I know there was like with the rival interaction, like Sonic says, "Sorry, Amy, I can't play favorites."
Oh, yeah,
And then,
That one I do remember.
love
yeah,
that one. I
like
love that.
I mean, he is being honest. He's like, "Hey, I can't let you win. This is a race." That's his way of saying like, I can't go easy on you and let you win, woman."
Yeah. And I
You
love that
know?
she dished it right back to him too. She's like, funny. I was going to say the same thing to you. Very cute.
Yeah, like because they're really showing the great platonic camaraderie, and then they're like, hey, hey, we can dish it at each other too,
Mm-hmm.
without hurting the other's feelings. So, like, you could say Amy is like matching his energy
Yeah, absolutely.
because like Amy is like saying, yeah, you may be my favorite person, but this is a race. So they're both like channeling like the same energy at each other, and the banter is like great.
Yeah. They're both very
um
competitive. So it's nice that they can't bury that part of their personality just because they care about the other person.
mhm. And the thing is, it's not hurting the other's feelings. They're kind of like,
Mhm.
hey, I'm just gonna dish out the same thing you did
Yeah.
that you did to me. So I think what they did with that was I think it's just clever, it just really shows like the character dynamics, the rival interactions in Cross Worlds. Is I think one of the funniest ones that I've seen is literally with like Charmy and Jet. And then literally like Jet says at first that like it's like, why don't you go away or something like that? And then Charmy just like dishes it back at him and just imitates the way that he was saying it.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
she's like, that's what you sound like. I'm like, so I'm just like, oh my gosh, like these character interactions are great. I think another one that I love is that Cream says to Vector, Mama would be so happy if you let me win. And Vector's like, wait a minute, you're putting me in this weird position. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
no. And then people are like, Cream knows what she's doing.
100% she does.
Like, I was like, that is a manipulation tactic. I was like,
Probably learned it
poor
from her
Vector.
mother.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt so bad for Vector. He's like, oh my gosh, she's manipulating me.
Hey, look at the one with Espeon cream. Like,
Oh my gosh, that was great. I truly enjoy the character interactions, and it's like, we get to see where these characters are, you know. So I think it was just great, I appreciated what people, Sega taking the time to do these rival interactions. Like I wasn't expecting them to,
Yeah, that's a
but
lot of unique lines that you have to come up for every possible pairing of characters.
yeah. So I think it's just great, that I think there was this one with like Blaze and Sage. And then Blaze is like, Eggman has a daughter? Oh, maybe he might change his ways. And then Sage is like, Father is fine, just the way he is. It was like, I was like, sassy, Sage. I'm like, I wasn't
Uh-huh.
expecting that coming out of your mouth, but
I love Sage. She's great.
hmm.
I'm glad they brought her into Crossworlds. Ryan definitely did a good job voicing her in that.
Hmm. Yeah, like it was because a lot of people love Sage and Frontiers, so I'm
Hmm.
so glad when they made Final Horizons, right, where she actually survives. I was like, oh, thank goodness. It was like
Yeah.
it's like don't kill another favorite character. So
They have a habit of killing little girls in this otherwise.
Even if she
yeah,
is AI, it's still
yeah.
you're still killing her.
Yeah, so I'm so glad when they did the DLC. I'm like, yes, she survives. Thank
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
But looks like unfortunately we will have to end this Q&A, but I want to thank you, Evay, for taking time to do this Q&A.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This has been so much fun. I just love getting to talk about Sonic and Son Amy and stuff. This has been the best.
Yeah, and of course, I did recently announce you as a guest for Serenity Spring Festival.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everyone, if you have been seeing on my socials, I have been posting guest announcements, and eBay is one of my guests for next year's Spring Festival. So, if you didn't get to ask Eve a question, she will be having an artist showcase and she will be explaining about her artworks, and audience can ask her questions too there. So, I just wanted to put that out there because the planning for the Spring Festival is going great for next year. So,
Looking
It's gonna be
forward to
so
it,
fun.
since I'll be a
Yeah.
yeah.
guest as well.
Yes, of course, Chris here is also going to be a guest for the Content Creator Showcase. So if you guys want to ask him questions too, while he's like showcasing some of his content, here's your chance too. And of course, I want to thank you, Chris, for co-hosting in Doom's place because unfortunately, Doom had something come up on her end.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Um, yeah, so of course I'm going to announce my upcoming streams. On December 17th at 12 p.m. PT, 3 p.m. ET is the next episode of the Lucky Charm podcast, episode 13. And I will be joined, of course, by my very good buddy G, the cartoon hotspot, as we are going to be talking about the impact of Miraculous Ladybug. For 10 years the show has been around. We're going to be celebrating 10 years because it's actually the 10th anniversary of the show this year. Um, and that will be here on my YouTube channel. So if you guys want to tune in for that and have us talk and geek out about Miraculous, there's also that. And of course, I'm going to confirm it now. I will be having the end of the year live stream this as tradition, and that will be on December 22 at 3 p.m. PT, 6 p.m. ET. I'm going to be joined by some of my buddies on there too. So you never know who might join in on this. So be sure to tune in for that. So but yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification for upcoming videos and live streams. And of course, if you want to watch the previous episodes I have done with T Lopes, TJ Davis, they are also on my YouTube channel. So may you all have a wonderful rest of your day, or night, depending on your time zone. And hopefully, I'll see you guys in the next stream. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.